Hey designers, are you struggling with the idea of UX design versus UI design and why sometimes you see UX/UI or just UX designer or product designer or whatever it might be? Well, in this video, we're going to talk exactly about that, and we're going to put this argument to rest because it's not an argument at all. Hey there, I'm John Diallo, and I'm here giving back to the design community to help you be a better designer. Let's jump into this topic right now. Over and over and over again, you could see on various different social media platforms the difference between UX design and UI design, and why are they different and why are we arguing about it at all? Now, it's really important for us to understand this is not an argument. It's actually a matter of scoping. So let's look at the difference between UI design, UX design, and product design. So what is UI design? Well, UI design stands for user interface design. It's the discipline where we design an interface or a connection point between a human and a system. An interface in general is just a connection point between two objects. So in the world of digital experience design, a lot of what we're doing is looking at the screens and the software layer and figuring out where buttons go and how does text read and what is the flow of the information on the page so that a human being can actually interact with the system and the software itself. Without it, you actually have a useless piece of software. If a human can't actually interact with or interface with the product itself or the software, it's not very useful. So how does that compare then with UX design? Well, UX design is actually a collection of different skills. So UX design then takes the scope of UI design and actually expands it quite a bit. UX design includes UI design. So if we were to map this out, we would see a circle of UX design, and inside we would see all the various other disciplines. You would see user interface design and interaction design, information architecture and information design. You would then see a grand landscape of many different skills that come together for a user experience designer, because they are using different skills to design an entire experience, not just that interface layer. And if you're interested in knowing more about UX design, you can check out my other video where I lay out the 7 skills for every UX designer to be experienced in. In general, it's not actually UI versus UX. It's UI inside of UX. User interface design is one of the key skills that we use as user experience designers. So why then the difference between UI design and UX design? Why do we argue over this all the time? Well, we have this problem because the end goal is often a clear interface that's delivered to meet the purpose in a person's life. If we create an interface that's not usable, then our product is likely to fail. And nobody wants that. Everybody wants a usable product. So at the end of the day, most of what we see and ship is going to be shown in user interfaces. But we arrive at a very good user interface by doing all of the other skills. So when product people or engineering people come to the table, they might be thinking in terms of, I need somebody to create an interface. But what they don't often think of is the other skills involved in bringing about a solid user interface. It's the architecture of the information below an interface. It's understanding how a system is working and moving and creating clear interaction paths. So any good UI designer is going to do a lot more work than just user interface design. They're also going to use many of the other skills that a UX designer uses. But you say, aha, John, you haven't mentioned product design. Well, there's a lot to be said about this, and there are some nuances between them, but at the end of the day, a designer who is designing for a product is what you would call a product designer. So for a product designer versus a UX designer, they are very, very similar jobs. The key difference though is that a UX designer that works solely on a product and on a product experience that's shaping a long-term overall value of a product is generally where a product designer is going to be deployed. And that's going to mean working with some different kinds of people, different disciplines, but at the end of the day, many of the skills overlap, and it's really a matter of context. And I know there's a lot of different thoughts out there, but in my opinion and in my experience, a UX designer and a product designer are very, very similar roles. It really just comes down to the context and the kinds of people that these two designers are working with, and slightly different goals at the end. But at the end of the day, a UI or a UX or a product designer are all aiming for one thing. They're going to solve a problem with the skills that are in front of them. They're going to try to improve the human being's life with a digital experience that is going to be better for the human being and help solve and overcome some problem in their life. I'd love to know your thoughts. Have I captured it well? Are there things that I left out? Please leave a comment below, and I'd love to respond to them and have a dialogue about this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this short video has helped clear up the connection between UI design, UX design, and product design, and how they all work together in our industry to create digital experiences that help people out. And if you're interested in learning more about UX, UI, and product design, be sure to check out this video here or this video here, where I expand a little more on the idea of user experience skills and designer skills that you'll bring to the table. Have a great one and go make something awesome.